We're now going to talk about the deer management plan and some of the different topics that go along with this. We've got Brent Rudolph with us. He is a deer and elk program leader for the DNRE. And, you know, there's been a lot of input given about this particular deer plan. Let's go way back to the very beginning. First of all, why did you say, hey, let's meet with people around the state and talk about it?
Well, obviously, you know, we do a lot to manage deer. We say we manage deer, but landowners and hunters are a big part of that. So if we don't have their input and their views represented in a plan we put together, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that it's going to be successful moving forward.
What are some of the things that you found out, and where are we going forward from here?
Well, there's been a couple of key things. You know, we put a lot of effort into input, into getting advice from other agency people, both in the state and out of state. But a few key things kind of came forward. One is that we try and be as standardized statewide with our regulations and programs as we can, but we really deal with different issues a lot of times. So we're going to look much more in the future on regional approaches, you know, separating issues from the Upper Peninsula, Northern Lower Peninsula, and Southern Lower Peninsula. One of the key ways we're going to do that is to put together a standing advisory team for each of those regions to bring hunters and other folks affected by deer management in to give us input on an ongoing basis.
Well, without the input, I mean, how can the DNRE really do a great job? You've got to have people out there that are in the field that are telling you what's going on. And you talked to me about that part of the plan is, as you talk about regionalizing things, and that is getting a group of landowners together so you can have those larger tracts of land in certain areas that you can help them in the management, not just for deer, but for all wildlife.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another key thing that came out here, is to find other ways, not just rules and regulations, to do some of the things we need to do for deer management. So helping landowners work together to come up with their own plans on what they want to do, and making sure we have the guidance to make sure it makes sense for deer management and other wildlife. So we're working on starting initial steps on a certification program. We work with landowners to develop a management plan and make sure that it provides good guidance. And as we move forward, I think we'll see a lot more consideration of different issues regionally. One of the big things in 2010 we move forward is we're still trying to be aggressive in managing bovine tuberculosis in the Northern Lower Peninsula. And so we've actually put the same rules that we had in the Upper Peninsula that were adopted to pass on some bucks in the UP. We've actually put in the Northeast Michigan with a different idea. We're trying to protect some bucks to shift more harvest pressure again onto antlerless deer there. So we've created some other options. Folks can use a firearm or a combination license to take an antlerless deer in the firearm and muzzleloader seasons. And we put these buck harvest restrictions in place. If you have a combination license, you're going to have to abide by a 3 or more on a side rule. And if you have an archery or a firearm license, you'll only be able to take 1 buck in that deer management unit.
Well, I think that by putting a plan in place and having people participate in it, and again, there's a lot of different conversation going on out there where, well, if I'm a private landowner, I should be able to do this, I should be able to take X amount of doe, or for other people, it's like, well, I just want my bucks, I don't want to take doe.
That was one of the keys that we did, is the groups that had the input. We had a standing committee to providing advice into this planning process, similar to what we want to do on an ongoing basis with these regional groups. And it represented anything from Commemorative Bucks of Michigan, Michigan United Conservation Clubs, Quality Deer Management Association, down to Farm Bureau and other folks that are more impacted sometimes on the negative side by deer. And everything that they recommended to us, they did by consensus. So it said what's in here is in agreement, from folks that just value deer to see them and hunt them, down to those that are impacted by them, sometimes financially.
All right, well, thanks for stopping by and talking a little bit about the deer management plan and kind of the direction where you're going.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Brent Rudolph has been with us. He's the deer and elk program leader for the Michigan DNRE. You're watching the Big Buck Pull. Stay with us.